Okay, Paleozoic. Here we go. So, here's our chart, and let's find out what's happening in our blue Paleozoic section. So, let's see. So, the last era was the Proterozoic. Can you see okay? Yellow. This was the time that the new cells were working with the sun to form an oxygen-rich environment. It was the time of the foraminiferans, who were removing the deadly mineral salts from the ocean. All of this activity was making just the right conditions for life. The Paleozoic is colored blue on the clock of eras to remind us that life began in the water. After the foraminiferans took care of the salt problem, life was ready to evolve into more complex forms. And well prepared it was. There was literally an explosion of life forms at the beginning of the Paleozoic era. Can you there? Is that better? Okay. The eukaryotes that had been so important in balancing the amount of oxygen in the oceans and the atmosphere had a special body form. The outside of the eukaryote cell was a simple membrane, but inside there was an important chamber called a nucleus. The nucleus contained all the information that made each new life form unique. Eventually, over millions of years, these eukaryote cells could join together to make different kinds of animals and plants. The tissues that made up these organisms were made to survive in a particular environment. Some would live on the bottom sediments, burrowing with tube-shaped bodies or walking with many tiny legs. Others would live in ocean column, developing fins for effective swimming. The Cambrian seas marks the beginning of the era when all the major phyla lived in the ancient seas. The Paleozoic era is divided into 6 periods. Each period is very different from the one before or after it. The first of these was the Cambrian Period. The Cambrian Period had so many new life forms that it is also often called the Cambrian Explosion. There were arthropods, mollusks, and echinoderms. The most famous animal of the Cambrian was the Trilobite. It had more than 100 different species during the Cambrian period. The plants of the Cambrian were simple one-celled algae. Sometimes algae cells lived together in a colony. As the Paleozoic era continued through other periods, new species developed. Many new types of animal life appeared as the Paleozoic continued. One type, the cephalopod, was a mollusk that lived in a large opening at the end of the shell. As they grew, they would make a new, larger ring of shell at the open end. When they were ready to move out of their old ring, they made a thin wall behind them. These cephalopods had feet that grew out of their heads. Fish developed during the middle part of the Paleozoic era. By the end of the Paleozoic, some organisms could live out of the water and were responsible for breaking down rocks and making soil. These were the lichens, a partnership between fungi and algae. The Paleozoic era came to an end with a mass extinction. Something caused conditions on Earth to change dramatically. As much as 95% of life on Earth died out at this time. Let's look at the Paleozoic on our clock. It's dark blue. It lasts only 47 minutes on our clock. Excuse me. So I'm going to get my blue. I'm going to line up my protractor with my pencil right here. I want to see how far it is. So it looks like it's going to be 10, 20, I think 24 degrees is what it looks like here. So let me get my workspace. Let me use this straight line. Make a 0 point. Let me put my 0 on that line. Okay. So 10, 20, there's 25. So I'm going to go just one less. 24. Oh, you know what I forgot to put is where my okay, so from here to here should be 24 degrees. I'm going to write 24 degrees because I'm referring to the angle right here. And make my cut. And let's see if that's a fit. Yeah, looks like a good cut. All right, 24 degrees. Add that to my collection. We only have 2 left to go. Can you handle 2 more stories? Are you getting tired? Maybe I'll stop here and then start in a minute.